Hey there, welcome back to the vlog. So we're about to do a vlog episode where we're going to build the same application that we've built several times in this series, and this time we're going to do it using something called Flutter. Now, before I get into what Flutter is, I'm going to do this episode which basically explains something called material design. And if you're wondering why I sound a bit funny right now, I actually have a head cold, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. So the way that material design works is you effectively had a project born out of Google where different designers within different parts of Google all had the same problem, and they basically got together and tried to work out, is there a common solution to this? They ended up with something that is a cross between a philosophy and a framework and a way of thinking and a way of simplifying and a way of making more intuitive, like it's a very broad idea, way of doing software design in such a way that the developers shouldn't be able to screw it up. That's pretty much what this comes down to. Now, there were several different names for this. One of them I think was called quantum paper or something. But anyway, the way that this works is you've got this problem where on the one hand you have a screen with no tactile feedback, and on the other hand you've got different ways you could represent things or lay out tasks or build the user interface. And each particular way has its own pros and cons, and they wanted to try and streamline things a bit. You will have noticed certain Google apps already have a certain look and feel. For instance, the iOS or Android apps for Gmail, for YouTube, for Creator Studio. These are all built already using material design and specifically Flutter under the hood. So what we're going to do is, first of all, before I get into in another episode how the Flutter stuff works, let's go back to what exactly material design ends up looking like as far as building a user interface on a mobile app is concerned. And also, just to quantify this a little bit more, whilst I'm going to concentrate on the mobile side, there are websites, for instance Dropbox is one of them that I can think of off the top of my head, where they're actually using material design in the website. So, you know, it's not constrained to mobile, but that's where I'm going to be talking about. Anyway, let's dive in. So what we're going to do here is build a material design app in paper so that you get an idea as to how things work. Now, when it comes to Flutter, everything is a widget, and so you end up with widgets on top of widgets. Now, this can get pretty complicated, so I'm only going to put in the pertinent widgets that you need to know about, and I'll tell you where the other widgets are that we're not going to do in paper, just because they're not necessary. So the first widget will be the scaffolding widget, and this basically gives you the app. So, you know, you've got your app title at the top, you've got your buttons and stuff at the bottom of your Android device, and, you know, it just basically gives you the canvas from which you can build up your main app. So in this particular example, let's imagine we're building the contacts app. So what we're now going to have, and this is where the first of the widgets that we don't put down would be, but imagine there was a widget that sat on this sort of grayed out area that just basically was padding. Let's say 10 pixels, so there's a border. On top of that, as a child widget of that, would be a list. So as you can now see, we have our list that takes up most of it, but there is a border around the edge, right? So just imagine that there was a padding widget where that sort of shaded area is. This list widget has child, or children rather, of its own. So now we're going to introduce rows, and these are also widgets. So we have a row, and do I have another row here? I should have another row. Yes, I do. So I now have 3 rows. Now again, imagine another padding widget goes down. So on top of these rows, there would be children widgets. Each one would have a column widget. And this just basically divides up the area into left and right columns in this example. So one there, and there would be another one here. Okay, so now let's imagine the left half of that widget also has another widget. In this case, we'll use an image widget. So we'll put a little man icon here, or a little person icon rather. We'll put a little person icon here, and we'll put another little person icon here. Now we'll need the name of that person. So there would be a text widget, which we can put in the right hand side. So I'll put my little text widget on the right hand side, and as you can see here, we're just building up a user interface. Now, you may have noticed sometimes when you go to places like Facebook or you go to Google, sometimes you will see these placeholders now starting to show up as part of the design. So it's like, you know, you're not looking at a blank screen, you're looking at here's where there will be something, here's where the widgets are. Whilst the widgets are uninitialized, we're going to use this as a stylish way to show you, hey, there will be content here. So that is, in a nutshell, how material design works. I will link down below to the website for the material design, and you can read through it at your own leisure. But basically, if you understand this, when we come to do the Flutter app very, very soon, it will make a lot more sense. So yeah, just understand that there are things on top of things, but they're children. They're not actually physically on top as they would be in old world design. Now these things are children that are dependents of the bigger thing that they sit on. So I'm going to leave it there right now. If you like these videos, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like them, thumbs down. If you want to see more, please hit subscribe, and speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye.